Welcome to the From the 108 podcast, starring the drunk uncles of White Sox Twitter. He's a Twitter-like whore, an Instagram thirst trap, and your grandma's guilty pleasure, Beef Loaf. A West Coast attitude in a decidedly Midwest body, My Sock Summer. And your host, he's sharing obscure music thoughts to give you time to hit the bathroom, Cheesy E.
Thank you, Cornsey. Welcome to the From the 108 podcast. Get ready for some baseball, beer, and bullshit. And remember the drinking rules. If Beef Loaf says allegedly, or that he made a video about that, you drink. If My Sock Summer mentions his time on the West Coast or blames his kids for something, you drink. And if I fuck up the intro or make MSS appear to be dumb, you drink. And you can make any of us drink for a tip of $1.08 or more.
More.
And speaking of drinking, fellas, what are you drinking? Beef Loaf, what are you drinking tonight?
Boys, I'm back on it. I'm back on the vodka salad. Dirty martini season is upon us. I got blue cheese olives. I got a lot of vodka. I got a lot more in that fridge back there. And since the show will be dominated by you two, I plan to get nice for this show. So I'm going to enjoy myself.
A glass of Italian dressing there. That's what you got from what I can see.
There's a lot of vodka in here, baby. Let's go.
That is something. I can't wait till he breaks out his breadstick and starts dunking it in.
I want to. It would be so good right now. I'm heavy on the brine. I realized Billy Wires told me a while ago when I first started drinking dirty martinis, he goes, you're going to figure out how much brine you need in there, what the mix is. I like it heavy. I'm real dirty. Dirty.
All brine. It's a
lot of brine.
There's not even vodka in it. It's just brine.
He'll be a pickle by the end of this. It's going to be a pickle on the inside.
I'm assessing
Billy Wires. He's skinny.
How much blue cheese do you have in your drink?
Absolutely none. I am rocking the Knob Creek Bananas Foster, like single barrel or whatever the fuck. It's like 120 proof. This is my taste. Hoping we don't get a bunch of tips, so I don't have to drink this really fast.
Oh, I hope we do.
Yeah,
maybe.
But no, it's going down, and we are coming in hot right out the gate. So this will be interesting. So hopefully, I don't fuck up my words as much as I just did, or else I'll hear from Mick about it in 2 weeks when he finally listens to the podcast. Cheesy, what are you drinking?
I got the beer for tacos back on this shit.
Oh,
I love this stuff, and like I was in. I go to this nice little liquor store right there on like 21st and Halsted over there. That's like one of my favorite spots.
Yeah,
great beer selection.
Yeah, don't tell everyone though. That's a good spot. I agree with you.
You know what though? I don't even got to worry about it because nobody knows where to park. So like
that's true.
They'll just drive around and be like, fuck, I don't know what to do.
No
you don't know that you could just park on the sidewalk over there. No one gives a fuck.
No one cares.
Have the balls to do it though. That's what you got to do. But so I'm in there and I saw a different beer that I was like, oh, maybe I'll check this out because I thought the can looked really cool. And have you seen this? It's Chug Life. It's a Mars one. Yeah. But like I looked at it, I was like, what kind of beer is this? And it says sparkling lager. I was like,
it's a lager.
Yeah, but sparkling. The word sparkling.
It's that's a
way
Pilsner,
off,
isn't it? Isn't a Pilsner a sparkling lager?
I don't know. But sparkling just made me think of too much carbonation. I'd be burping in your faces all night. Like I decided,
bloated.
I decided against it based purely on that. And so I was like, Old Reliable right above it. I'm gonna go for this. I know this shit's good.
A little sparkle might have made your keyboard work. Your keyboard, it would have got into the gears and fixtures and got it going.
My keyboard's back here because like 40 seconds before I was jumping into StreamYard, I started to type StreamYard into the fucking browser and nothing.
It's like,
it's like I've had enough of your bullshit. So now I got my keyboard is like my actual laptop over to my right. So I'm just gonna look like I'm working the keys. And I should have a bass in one hand and then play the keys with the other hand.
You better be dropping some sexy ass
almost
over
be like
there,
Keatsar. Bruhan Luke says, sorry, I'm late, guys. I was tagging him for third on a short fly ball to right field. Yeah, I saw that.
Just a terrible play.
Devin Sheets should have just stopped, and that made him chase him down. Like that
we were just talking about how I was going to feel bad about talking shit about Gavin Sheets a little bit later.
Now.
Nah. No, he's back
Well,
on it.
He's been garbage. Yeah, that's
Yeah. So, MSS, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing really good. And boys, I thought I would do something unique for our fan base, for the listeners, for the people watching at home. I don't know if you guys know, but I mean, I talked about it when we did the media day, but the White Sox have this milkshake that they have over at the park.
No one's heard of it.
It's getting a little bit of press. I had
Where?
no
I
idea.
haven't seen it.
I mean, you barely see it. So I thought it would be really good and so 108, because, we usually try to bring a different perspective, to everything, to do a little milkshake review. So let's rock and roll. May, what do you think it's gonna? You think it's gonna be good?
Yeah.
What are you most excited about?
Like the taste.
The taste. What's it look like?
It looks like chocolate.
Chocolate. Does it look like a s'more?
Yes.
It's called a campfire milkshake. It looks like a s'more. Tessie, do you like s'mores?
Yeah. I really love s'mores. I like two Infinity and Beyond.
So Xfinity and Beyond, are you excited to taste this?
Yes.
All right, go ahead and taste it. You're gonna eat that first?
Yes. Hey man, that sounds good. I asked.
All right. Give me a bite. Here, do you want to eat one of the marshmallow stuff? Go ahead. Is it good?
Oh, maybe I like it more.
Go ahead and eat it. And then we'll clean up, okay? We'll clean up. Take a drink out of it. Give me a reaction, okay? Is it good? Two thumbs up?
Three.
Three? All right, Tess, you take a drink and see if you like it. Not yet.
I never taste this.
Careful, careful. Take another drink. Here, go ahead. You guys do it at the same time. Drink at the same time. What do you think about the taste?
I meant to do like 100 thumbs up.
100 thumbs up?
Yeah. It's good. It's good.
It's really good.
Yeah. Affinity 1,000
Affinity 1,000.
and 20.
There you have it.
I love it.
You can't see
Well
on
done.
every other blog, normie media, fucking any other Twitter account, potentially not even Gabriel's. A milkshake review, and the kids love it. Both the girls. We only got one because they wanted to give us three, and I said we just need one. And they didn't even finish half of it. I mean, it's a lot. It's good, people. It's really good. And just to throw a little bit.
You only got one. We know why, Treasy. Too cheap. Oh, you didn't pay for it.
I'm sure
Hang
that
on.
was
You didn't
free.
pay for
I'm
it.
sure that was free.
You got a comp. Okay, good call. Good call.
That's 100%.
He can only get one comp. That's what it was.
I told them, Uncle Treasy gave you these tickets so that you can go to the game. He said you have to work for him, though, so you have to do a milkshake review. So, I mean, that's how.
I do have a question. I do have a
Yeah.
question,
Go for
MSS. Hey, you give us shit for this all the time, and I just want to understand why there's a double standard for you. Why you get to use government names for the kids? Like, I would think you would have done something to not give the government names, but you're out there giving them.
So what I was going to do was I was going to beep it out, right? And then there's I was going to
Or
do a beep,
overdubbing it would have been hilarious.
something, and then I was like, I'm not doing this. And then after that article got dropped in Northwestern's paper with my full name, and everything, which I didn't know they were going to do, but that's fine, because I'm not really hiding. So it was. I was like, what the fuck? At this point, who cares? There is one part where my youngest goes, yeah, this is really perfect for 5-year-olds, almost 6-year-olds. My birthday is this day, and I go to this school. I was like, oh. we don't need to dox you every day. So no. I thought the kids did a good job. They enjoyed it. It was a fun day to go to the game. It was rainy and shitty, and there was nobody there. So they got to go up to the kids club and get all their stuff. And they do a really good job with kids. So, listen, now is the time to take them because it's cold. They don't want to stay there very long, so they can go get in and just play. And then
they can't ruin your life because they're only going to be there for a couple innings.
Well, what I liked is that the two of them, they're different characters. And so they play well off each other.
They do.
Tess got real high energy. She's very high energy. I enjoyed that. And then May is more a smart ass to you, kind of like, giving dad some shit. So it was really good.
Oh, man.
First of all, Baloney says, I called MSS by his real name on our podcast and immediately got called out on it. If only I had a Northwestern degree to get away with it. Now, I don't think that the kid that wrote that yet has a degree from Northwestern.
Probably not, no.
And after interviewing My Sox Summer and White Sox Dave for a school project, he probably never will.
It's over.
All right, let's get to a couple drinks here real quick. Our guy Nathan Sheba, he says, Beefloaf, the most recent au was really thought-provoking. I'm not sure if I'm excited or depressed, but it was terrific. Cheers, Nathan. And
very good.
Beef, it was good. We will talk about it in a little bit.
Yeah, that's coming.
Thank you. I'm terrified every time I do a solo, but I've been good responses, so I appreciate it.
Your solo webcams have been pretty
exquisite.
Pretty good. Everybody seems to enjoy them quite a bit.
Tons of foot play from that guy. It's beautiful.
It's from Baloney. He says, please give this to the kids. They earned it.
Absolutely.
Cheers.
Baloney, cheers.
Thanks, buddy.
And Jerry O'Sullivan says, next shake is on me, MSS. Have a great show.
Thank you. There's a little bit of malted milk in there, or malted whatever powder they put in there. So I don't want to tell Wally that because Wally loves malts. So chocolate malts, you got a guy will just be housing those all fucking summer long once he finds that out.
I'm all for it. Let him pack on a few pounds.
Let's go.
He's going to be back for 108 weight loss again next year and really crank down the weight. It's going to be wonderful. Yeah. Our guy Drew Bogues, he says, great review by your daughters, MSS. Cheers, gents. This show is better than watching the White Sox. I don't know. I got to turn to and look. I don't know how they're doing.
Still 1-2.
They're still losing. Yeah, they're still losing. Thank you, Drew.
Thanks, Drew. Yeah, you do have to climb up all those stairs to get the milkshake. So at least you burn off 15 calories before you ingest 1,500.
Great.
Beefloaf, how you doing tonight?
I'm good, boys. Just a reminder, the Final Four is this weekend. The men and women's basketball tournaments have been terrific. And I thought
we were talking 108 tourney for a second.
Haven't been.
Oh, shit.
Flashback. We have a little flashback. I haven't been that into college basketball the last several years, but this year both tournaments have been terrific.
Yeah.
And the men's Final Four is Saturday. NC State, the big boy, Teresi. DJ Burns. That's our guy, man.
We're watching that Easter with our parents. Yeah, and everybody in the house is rooting for the thick boy.
That's right. Absolutely true. So I was thinking about the Final Four in general, and what I wanted to do is make a list for you guys. My top 5 Final Four teams that I was sad that they did not win the title. These are teams that made it to the Final Four. I was sad that they won the title. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts. MSS.
Hate you already.
Fuck you, MSS. And I ain't even gonna. You know what? Well, you'll wait and see. Number 5 for me, the 2006 George Mason team. 11th seed, fucking came out of nowhere. They had 5 guys that averaged double digits. They were just like a crazy colonial conference, like not even a real conference, just like fucking shooting the moon there. Small ass school. Just a terrific run. It was sad when they got knocked out of the tournament. I think they lost to Florida, who was the eventual champion that year. The other fun fact about George Mason, Econ Talk, one of my favorite podcasts, Russ Roberts, the host, he was teaching at George Mason when he started Econ Talk, and it was actually, he started it in 2005, so right around that time.
Oh, wow.
So George Mason team, fun as fuck. Number 4, 2018 Loyola Ramblers. Yeah. They were also an 11th seed. That was fun. They had a similar team where they had a bunch of different players averaging double figures. They had 5 in total. Very cool, fun team. Enjoyed the tournament of that Cinderella run, Sister Jean notwithstanding. Number 3 on my list. Dry ass pussy. Number 3, 1993.
Jesus Christ.
Michigan Wolverines. They were a number 1 seed. This is the Fab 5. This was the return to the Final Four. I love the Fab 5. My Sox Summer, quit being a sour ass pussy just because you're a fake Illinois guy.
Oh,
you,
fake.
oh, you didn't go to Illinois. You fucking just live in Illinois, motherfucker. You're like the rest of us. I love that Fab Five team, and that was the year where like you knew that some of them probably was going to go pro. Chris Webber was the most likely one because it could be a lottery, and that was the fucking big dummy calls the timeout and ruins it. And they lost to a mid-ass North Carolina team. That fucking team wasn't even any good. Like what? I was like, what the fuck? Very, very disappointing for me. Number 2, the 1991 UNLV Running Rebels. And the Rebels were undefeated that year. That was it. They had beaten the shit out of Duke the year before to win the championship. They won by like 30 points. They meet Duke again in the semis and just can't get it done. And that was one of the most fun college basketball teams I could remember. You know, it's Grandmama, Larry Johnson, Stacey Augman, Anderson Hunt, Greg Anthony. I thought Anderson Hunt was going to be such a good pro. Motherfucker did not even get drafted into the NBA. The NBA was like, that college shit you did, cool and everything, but fuck y'all, you're out of here.
You can't play up here.
You can't. Yeah, you ain't that good.
They ain't gonna have it.
And you know, I realized that in hindsight, it was the first time that I was rooting for the anti-hero because the UNLV team was like the bad boy team, kind of like they were not
Duke,
well loved.
Duke was the beloved team, and
at
like
the time,
I loved Duke at the like Bobby Hurley was. I mean, like he was a slow point guard like me. I was like, yeah, one of them,
give me that
just like me. It's possible. All right.
And
Guy's
number one on the list. I'm sorry about this, MSS. The 1989 Illinois Fighting Illini.
Man.
The Flying Illini, man. Nick Anderson, Kendall Gill, Kenny Battle, Marcus Liberty, Lowell Hamilton, Stephen Bardo. I mean, that team. So, yes, that was the best team in the nation. Best team in the nation. And they lose to fucking junky-ass Michigan. And they had beat the shit out of Michigan twice in the regular season. Like, games were not close. They get into the semifinals and just kind of collapse there. That was like Romeo Robinson having like the tournament of his career, and then Glenn Rice, a one-man team basically. Glenn Rice is just an absolute stud.
You had a hampered Kendall Gill. He had a tender ankle at that time. They shut him down defensively, and they always say you can beat a team. It's hard to beat a team 3 times. Like you can beat them twice. It's hard to beat them that third time. They usually figure something out. Usually it's not over that long of a stretch. You know, you're usually talking about this within the season, but like apparently, yeah, that sucked. That was the first sporting event that I remember crying over. And I was like, well, why? Why are they not? And then the next year when they weren't as good, they were still good, but they weren't as good. Yeah. And you're like, what the fuck have I got myself into? Like, and now they're not even going to be as good as they were last year. Now I'm just going to be like, I'm fucked. Yeah. I'm totally fucked here.
Oh, yes. Treasy and I growing up with the 85 Bears. Yeah. That's like one of the first teams we remember. That fucked us over for a lifetime. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Now, MSS, I apologize. I didn't put the 05 Illini because I didn't really have a connection to them at all.
The weird thing is the Fab Five because they won a championship, right? They had one. No, they never won.
They finished second twice. They got to the championship twice.
It seems about right though for all the cheating. The UNLV
the cheating, the recruiting cheating. Is that what you're talking about?
After they'd already won one, just to go back to back over the 05 Illini. Oh, I don't know, man. That's a lot of crap because very similar team in the fact that they went undefeated. The Illini lost one game, but like they should have. Oh, God, I don't know. Like I'm probably more upset about the 89 than I am the 05 because the 05 was just a really great year and really fun year. So I'm going to probably go with that if you're only going to put one Illini team. But, man, fuck Michigan. Fuck George Mason.
What do you mean? That's fun, George Mason.
Oh, my God. George Mason.
Who you got? You got another one? You give me another one.
I don't only go
See, I think the George Mason one is on par with, like, Alabama this year.
Yeah,
where Alabama was just like Alabama might win their next game by shooting like 50% from 3-point, or they might lose by 100 points. Like there's going to be no in between on that game. And like, so like, that's the kind of team that like, though, is fun in these tournaments. Like, a team that like, you don't really put them in the game and then they just are lights out, or they just, just play with a different offensive tenacity than you see out of other teams. And like, that's what makes the tournament fun. That's what makes it like anyone can win this type of thing. And the George Mason one, I love. I mean, I was thinking of like teams that didn't even make it as far as you're talking about. Was it VCU that one year that was just like shot out of a cannon? I want to say they got to the Sweet 16 or Elite 8, and it was just like, who the fuck are these guys?
Exactly. Yeah, they were like that too. They'd run, they'd shoot a lot of threes, and I was like, what the fuck team is this? Like,
Kevin's up in the stuff. Looking forward to seeing you again, man. And he's talking about how James Augustine did not commit one foul in that national championship game, and how it was a conspiracy. I'm
Sean
sure
May,
he
baby.
fouled. It was the person that did not commit any fouls and clearly walked on water that entire game. Sean May. Sean May could do whatever the fuck he wanted. Like, if Sean May made us miss the basket, they were like fouling Augustine, or he's not in the game anymore. Oh, goaltending. Yeah, fuck it. No. It was just that was the sad. There's a picture of me somewhere at a bar in Huntington Beach, like just with the saddest fucking face, like just like, oh, like you're just getting killed.
that was the best fat guy performance in the national championship game. That's my opinion.
Sean May?
Best fat, yeah, Sean May. Sean May wasn't good, and then all of a sudden he was untouchable. He fucking couldn't miss a shot in that game.
No, they almost won the game still. Even getting just like no calls and like half their teams on the bench, they still nearly won that game.
Yeah,
Like, that's
yeah,
how
good.
good that 05 team was. But
We got a couple drinks here. Let's get these drinks real quick.
no 30-point drubbing.
Got one from Road Dog. He says, great analysis. Great analysis, fellas. Stop by Shy Sox and throw me some high fives next time you're heading into the ballpark. Oh, hell yeah.
Sounds
We
good.
got you, sir.
All right. We got Southside Bomb. He says, hi, gents. Still recovering from that 30-0 run from UConn.
Oh, God.
You got to block that out. You got to repress that.
That's
Southside
just, I mean, that was a lot.
We got one from Paul. He says, MSS, I love the Michigan hate.
Oh my God! Get
I hate
that
'em.
Michigan hate out of here.
I don't like them.
Cheers.
Just don't like them.
A bunch of those guys were Chicago guys, right?
Juwan Howard,
Yeah.
Chicago guy, baby.
Yeah.
Turn your back on your own state. One bunch of dicks.
Hey, the money wasn't right. Treasy, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I was out the other night with Cornsey. I'm like, half paying attention to the TVs in the bar that we're in, and NBC Sports Chicago is on. This is before any games or anything normal games would be starting, and they had on foot volley, which is which is like volleyball, but like it's like soccer and volleyball combined, right? You can't use your hands for volleyball, and it's ridiculous. And then like later that night, we got home. I like put on TV, NBC Sports Chicago, and they had like professional tag where these guys are like basically doing like parkour trying to tag each other.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
So like street tag, like you're running and it's a tag guy.
but
Like a playground.
There's like all kinds of bars and ramps and stuff,
Yeah.
and you're like jumping over this stuff and it's all a ring. So like you got like it's square, but you gotta like you gotta stay in
Squared
there.
circle.
It is a squared circle, and
Squared circle.
and I'm watching this and I'm thinking to myself like, are the RSNs gonna survive by becoming ESPN the Ocho? Because I'm in.
You're in for it.
I'm in. And like, so I wonder from you guys, like, if that's the case, what sports do you, or pseudo sports or sports or whatever, do you want NBC Sports Chicago to start playing?
I mean,
for our local Ocho.
What's the most obvious one to get back, or that we have a Chicago affiliate? We already got a guy that knows how to call it. Slam ball. We need that right fucking back. Like John Sheriffin just jump right in. Is like, hey, listen, if we can't, everyone tells me that this is true. So we throw him on a slam ball broadcast. We're getting more White Sox fans over to the broadcast. We're good to go. Like that's how we'll do it. That's how we'll build a new fan base. It's through slam ball.
I don't know. I don't watch any of them second-rate sports. I don't get into any of that shit. I mean, like, what does
But now
beach
you got your
volleyball
big-
count? Like, I don't know.
Now you
I
got
watch
your big
that.
TV. Now you got your big TV.
That's right.
Maybe you need to
Wing.
see the
That's
big
true.
three on your big TV.
The big three's fine, but the big three always disappoints because there's at least one guy on the team who used to be real good, who's now real lazy. They can't move anymore, and they're just like, fuck
It's
everything.
not lazy, all right? Greg Oden's legs just don't work anymore.
You
All
know
right,
what
it's
I
not
mean?
his fault.
A couple of guys look like they can still, and the one guy who's a good play is limping around. He got hurt in the first period. Then he's got like a big wrap on, and all he's doing is sitting in the corner trying to shoot. It's like old man ball at the Hamburg Club.
But there's extra excitement out of it because you don't know that Gilbert Arenas is there going. At any moment, he could go, I'm going to go back to my locker, get my other gun.
Yeah. Well, Well, if they put something fun on there like bum fights, maybe I would go with that. It's not. You get Kimbo Slice, you resurrect him or clone him, and get him out there. And
what about that? What about the street fights? Remember those street fights that they used to have on YouTube and shit? It's not on YouTube anymore.
Kimbo Slice,
but
tell Kimbo Slice.
Maybe it needs to be on TV. What about the slap fights? The slap.
Yeah, they just download those, right? They
That's
don't
pretty
do those
fun.
anymore. Yeah.
What about adult league sports like 16 in softball, drunk league? We'll do one of the beer league. Maybe remember volleyball? Did you guys ever play volleyball?
Yeah, we play volleyball.
Hell
yeah.
Why not volleyball? But
like professional volleyball might be insane.
What do you think professional whirly ball's like? Professional whirly ball.
I worry about the whirly ball. Somebody might get decapitated.
Yeah. I want it in way faster cars.
Yeah.
Way faster cars. Well, no bumpers.
No, you need a little bumper. Come on now. You can't no bumper it. That's bullshit.
What is that? What's that show with the bots that fight each other? Those fighting bots. Like you have to you build your own whirly bot car. Go in.
And you got like a saw on it.
Saw, and you can start.
I don't watch enough TV then.
People just die.
I mean, I don't want people to die either. Just get maimed. Just maimed, maybe brain damaged a little bit. I don't care.
K-Dog's right. Bocce ball from 26th and Wallace. Well, put the bocce ball on from McGuane Park during the summer.
Man, and Eddie can call it while he's playing. He can announce it while he's
in the league.
actually
That's
playing.
right.
Barstow Eddie is like, oh, that's a good roll. Look at it go into the oyster shells. Oh, that's beautiful. So good stuff.
MSS, you know what time it is?
I do know what time it is. Do you know what time it is?
I think so.
Hey, White Sox fans, welcome back to the Shrimp Side. We know you've been waiting for the season to start, and we're excited to have you back. Whether you're coming to a game or just passing by, make sure to stop at Lawrence's Fish and Shrimp on Canal Street. We're open 24 hours a day, ready to serve you delicious seafood that will satisfy your hunger. Whether you're craving mouth-watering shrimp, flaky fish, or even crispy frog legs, we've got you covered. So before the game, during the game, or after the game, come to Lawrence's for a meal that will hit the spot. Stop by one of our 4 locations today or visit our website at chicagoshrimp.com to place an order for pickup or delivery. Come see why Lawrence's Fish and Shrimp has been serving up the seafood you crave since 1950.
I'm so nervous about Soxwood getting a hold of that image.
I'll send it to him. I'm this close to buying a shrimp costume to wear to a game. So I'm really damn close. I just got to make sure it can fit.
They're at the thrift store is what I'm hearing?
No. It's full price. Full price.
Oh. That means he's going to run it through the 108. That's what it is, Trees.
Oh, 100%.
That's what he's letting us know right now.
Yeah.
You know what it's time for, though, speaking of Lawrence's?
You got the new one?
It's time for the Lawrence's hot sauce seat. It's time for the Lawrence's hot sauce seat.
Baby.
And I'm putting MSS on it right now.
Oh, shit.
Putting MSS on it right now because
listen, in
our private chats, Beef, this guy keeps sending us stuff from like Reddit and he's like, oh, look at this, I can't believe this. And it's getting to the point where it's like the Facebook groups that he used to frequent all the time. And MSS, I'm wondering, do we need to hold an intervention for you like last time where we had to give you a choice? You could keep going to Facebook groups or you could quit smoking. Like you had to get rid of one of them. You had
only one thing.
You could smoke, but you can't go to Facebook, or you could go to Facebook, but you can't smoke.
And I kind of gave up the Facebook groups, and then
now you've pushed back in with this. So you're in the Reddit thing. Do we need to have an intervention?
I don't think so. Maybe me getting some of these things out onto the podcast, maybe will make things better. At least be more entertaining, to people.
You're gonna let it out?
I'm gonna let it out.
Give them
let me just let it out a little bit. So, I mean, Reddit has always been like the parents' basement of White Sox fans' social media gatherings, right? Like, it looks nice. People seem pretty intelligent. You can have a good time there. But when you leave there, you're usually depressed because you realize that these folks haven't ventured out beyond these walls. So like when I'm looking at these Reddit threads, a guy will be like, oh man, game experience sucks balls, blah, blah, blah. I'm definitely not going back for my one game a year. Okay. So like you're giving one opportunity to the Sox to prove something, and they most likely sometimes will fuck it up, or they hit it out of the park. So whatever side you're on, that's what you kind of go with. So that's what it kind of reminds me of that. Now they had like their safe space over there at the Reddit. And us, the 108, we're not big. They're not big fans of ours. They famously anointed Beef Loaf as the dumbest name ever for anybody that was going to come in. They criticized every blog that we put in there. I think one of them was, "Let the Beef Loaf tell you." He's like, "Oh, that's so fucking stupid." Now look at us now. I mean, Loaf has as many followers as people that are in the White Sox Reddit chain. We also just today, I got downvoted twice because I had responded to a guy who said, the guy asked a question, "Do I need a special ticket to get the campfire milkshake?" The guy goes, "No, you don't. It's available here and here." And I said this to that guy's comment, which means this guy is correct. This is what he's doing. I got downvoted twice for not for just being my Sox summer, which was a little rough. And I kind of laughed at it and I put it in there. Now,
You try to take credit for that other guy's statement.
Yeah,
That's why.
yeah.
I would have downvoted you too. We didn't need you to say this.
I didn't try to take credit for it. I just thought it was funny that somebody downvoted me for saying, "Yeah, this guy has the right information." I thought it was kind of stupid. Now, in the beginning, like, I couldn't post my blog there, my Sox Summer blog, and they most definitely did not allow me to post the 108 blog on there either, because they claim you can't be self-promoting. You couldn't promote yourself. You can't do that. Now, since that's happened, you can post anything. Sox in the Basement is up there. Sox on 35th is up there. They get to post their stuff. So they have laxed those rules a little bit. Okay. And I was very tempted. I was trying to get the read of the room before I started putting back 108 material up there and making a 108 account. The read of the room is still virgins everywhere. It is just very scary. It's a very scary place. It still sucks. Now, I don't know if you guys
a lot of cherries
remember.
to be broken, MSS. Get your ass in there,
Once
baby.
we get him off Reddit, he's going to go to 4chan.
Now, I don't think 4chan exists anymore, does it?
I don't know.
Man, it shouldn't, because that was a wild ride. Now, you guys remember, like, on Facebook and Facebook groups and Facebook, like little things when people would leave a group because they were getting so upset. They would tell you their whole life story and give you every reason for why they were leaving. They were like, "And I don't like the way that the administrator doesn't allow me to post pictures of my penis," or whatever, and they like go on a long fucking stories. That is what Reddit has become. People are coming in and giving these long ass stories about why they're not watching the Sox anymore, but they weren't watching them really before. They suck now. I can't give Jerry any money. All of the things. There's 9 paragraph sentences about how bad the third broadcast was from a guy who's never done a baseball broadcast before. I mean, he's had 3 games in to get a shot, and he's like, "This is the most awfulest thing ever." And it starts to get a little personal. They get very, very personal, and I'm going to put up one of these tweets or one of these threads. And this guy, his name is Crazy Ozzy 02, and he says, "Love that I've moved back to the Chicago area in the winter to get closer to family and my little one closer to her grandparents. But I fucking hate now that I'm stuck with just the home broadcast rather than be able to choose the other feed on MLB TV. Going to be a long season with this incompetent front office boob." And he's talking about John Sheriffin. Okay. So he came back into the fold. With his family and everything, and he's more pissed off that now when he listens to a White Sox game, he has to hear somebody that sounds good.
His family is not enough to overcome that. Is what I'm reading from that.
Yes.
Like, John Shriffen is so bad that
John Shriffen ruined his family.
Ruined his family experience.
Yeah,
he's fucked. Yeah, absolutely.
Boys, it's so bad over there that when a guy came in and defended John Sheriffin and said, "You know what, you guys have something really, really good going here with Steve Stone and this John guy. They have a really good rapport. I'm from Atlanta. Our team is not like that. That's not how they interact, blah, blah, blah." This is what was posted. Guy Seth928 says, "I'm so suspicious of this organization. I had to check the original poster's history. I remain suspicious." This other guy says, uneducated reviews 1, "This is a Reinsdorf plant. Never interacted with any baseball communities prior. We know what you're up to, Jerry, and it won't work." Another guy says, Jason 82929 says, "Gotta be a Brooks Boyer burner account. Go away, Brooks." So if you try,
I want it to be one of those.
I know
for a fact that they monitor Reddit, but I don't know if they post and try to do something like that. It seems like way too much work. And the guy didn't really. he was posting a lot of things, and it's just a weird. Reddit is a weird place. I don't know if you guys have been on there because we're not into
I use Reddit.
I don't go on very much.
But like the White Sox sub is just so odd. Like they just, I don't know. It just continues. There's people talking about whatever. Like everything's fucking depressing. The one thing that comes around a lot is I'm a new White Sox fan. I'm looking for a team to cheer on, and I've come across the White Sox. Why should I cheer for them? And then like, who the fuck asked these questions? I've never heard anybody in real life ask somebody, go, hey, who's a baseball team I should cheer for? Or tell me why I should cheer for your favorite baseball team. It is the fucking goofiest fucking shit. And so like
I'm now convinced it's all Boyer plants. I'm
arguing with each other.
It's like, do you guys remember this tweet where it was like it was like I don't know if he was a congressman or like a state senator or whatever he was, but he accidentally tweeted from his real account instead of the fake account, and he's like, as a gay black man, I love President Trump or whatever. And the guy who's posting it is like a white dude with glasses.
Yes, I remember that.
That's my favorite shit. That's what's happening to you all day on Reddit.
I wonder
it's just all either Boyer or Ricketts plants going at you all day. There's no actual people. It's the zero what is it? The zero people internet theory. Like there's no actual people left on the internet. It's all bots.
Yeah.
Just people. I don't know if you guys are paying attention to the Sox game, but the Sox are down 8-1. The bottom has fallen out with our relievers. We'll talk about that later. But guys, I don't. One thing that was really, really weird about Reddit, and it continues to come up, and I'll address this at some point with the people at Reddit. But they despise everybody from White Sox Twitter, and they don't like White Sox Twitter, and they don't seem to like just Twitter in general. But all of their breaking news stories on Reddit come from Twitter, so they have to link the tweet or they post the tweet. So it happens in Facebook too. They'll post tweets, and they're like, "Dude, just go on Twitter. You don't need to be here in this weird marketplace thing where they're trying to sell you stuff in Facebook." And then Reddit, just weird, porn stuff everywhere. But this guy, I posted
you prefer the liver cake. That's what I'm hearing.
That's right.
So. This was posted in the John Sheriffin sucks thread that was put out there, and the guy was like, "Yeah, I know it's only been one game, but it's really not hard to say that this is quite possibly the worst announcer that we've ever had." I don't know. It was a lot. It was a lot to take on this Tuesday when the Sox have already been getting drubbed, and you just meet this guy. But this guy, face number 5241. Responds about John Sheriffin and says he's sucking up way too much the dumbass White Sox Twitter folks to make up for his lack of insight and preparation. I don't know. I didn't hear the broadcast. I listened to the broadcast on Tuesday night because I was like, I'm not going to the game. I want to listen to it and see how bad he is. It sounded just like every other fucking broadcast I've ever heard the White Sox have. Okay, no Sox math. They did the nationwide jingle, sounded just as good as Benetti. So I don't know what the problem is.
Man.
Face number.
That's a shot right there, Treasy.
5241. Same thread. Made sure that he got this out. He said he's a total yes man who is going to spend his time here desperately appealing to the dumbass White Sox Twitter folk to be liked. First, putting in the time and effort.
Isn't that putting in the time and effort?
Right.
It's part of it, I would think, right?
Jason Benetti would not walk out to the tailgates and hang out with us ever. That never happened. And the man, we would catch him a lot when we were walking home. He would already be scurrying to his car after the game had just ended. And we're leaving as fans. He's running out of there, too, because he probably had to go call Florida, Georgia. So, it's just that was it. Now, if it was just Reddit on Tuesday, it would have been fine. Like I wouldn't be as upset, but I was in the car a lot because I went and picked up our new 108 performance sweatshirts.
Hello.
We also have black. Yeah, there. Oh, other side. Black is right there. And then we have t-shirts too. They're delicious. They're nice. They're very soft.
Delicious.
They're delicious. I'm driving up north, so I'm listening to all of the normie media, as Loaf likes to call it, and
Yes, sir.
and I'm enjoying it the way we're calling it too. And I'm listening to Mully and Haw, and the Clevenger news broke, which we'll talk about in a minute. But like the Clevenger stuff is up there, and people are just fucking irate. Now, I'll get more into that later. Now, so that's going on. I understand the upsetness, right? But they're going in on the Sox on a Tuesday after they've lost the first 4 games, and they're saying, "Oh my God, this team is fucking awful. They're horrible. They're not going to be good. They're not good. And they just look. They're not hitting. The pitching's bad. Blah 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 blah. They're not scoring runs. Blah blah blah." Folks, all I heard about when they talked about the White Sox for the past 4 months is how awful, horrible they're going to be, how the pitching's going to suck, and the guys aren't going. Why is anyone surprised that the Sox came out and laid a big turd on the field in that first fucking weekend? Now, if we're looking at it through non-normie media covered like glasses or whatever, the Sox actually had a good opening day. Garrett Crochet was good. He did fine. They scored runs the next day, but they gave up too many runs and they lost. And then it was another 1-run game, to close out the series. Then they got blanked by the Braves. So I understand, okay, yeah, all right, that sucked. But at no point did we ever think that this team was going to be good. So to hear people continually yelling and complaining about this shit, it's just like, get over it. We knew this was going to happen. So why is this a thing? So I'm thinking, okay, well, when Wednesday happens, or when Wednesday comes around and they win the game Thursday, they won the game Tuesday night. But Tuesday night comes around, they win the game. I'm thinking, people are going to have a little bit of positive things to say when it comes Wednesday. Nope. Absolutely not. Fucking done. They don't even talk about the Sox that day. Oh, yeah, I guess the Sox won last night. Good job, finally. Nothing, didn't say anything. Hey, the pitching came through. Garrett Crochet might be the real deal, blah, blah, blah. No, nothing. So, folks, it was a lot of negativity rolling through my veins on Tuesday. I just wanted to get this out. I think that we need to, just take a step back, let John Shriffen get his feet, gather what he's supposed to do, let him do the broadcast. Seems just fine. Normie media, relax. You're 7 games in now on the season, and it looks bleak. It's very bad. We understand that. But they continually tell us that it's bad is not going to make it any better. And I don't think you're going to get more listeners about it. I don't know. So anyway, that's my thing. Everyone's ready for me to be done, so I'm done.
My big takeaway here is I think I'm going to start using Reddit more. It sounds like a place.
Great insights there.
It sounds like a place where you could really let the hate flow, and I think I'm going to get over there. I'm going to go check it out.
Just get that out of you. Clean yourself.
I'm going to use the normal 2-3 hours I spend on Truth Social. I'm going to go over to
maybe you should
respect that. I respect that.
Let's get into some White Sox talk.
That's my
fellas.
guy.
Let's get into some White Sox talk. I noticed that you put Paul DeJong on here. I'm going to talk about Paul DeJong a little bit later, but first,
leading the teams.
I think the thing we got to get into is the Mike Clevenger thing. Let's hit this off the top. Now, Beef, I want to say your bit on this on Monday on the Ajou, I think hit the nail on the head. I think that was really well done. What I want to do is take a little bit of a different look at this. This is kind of beyond the player and looking at the budget itself, right? So it seems to me like the Sox had roughly $3 million to spend. That was it. That's all they had left. Yeah. That was all that was budgeted for the rest of this year. And so if you're looking at it like that, you look at this acquisition a little bit differently, because I think you see a lot of people that are pro Clevenger, when you say yeah, but there's so many other needs on this team, they'll say do both. But obviously that budget's not there. And obviously they're not doing the other things.
Right.
So what I'm looking at is if you were to take the 2 options that they had in this very short window where apparently they realized that they were all fucked up. I mean, they could have realized this much earlier. But again, maybe they only had $3 million to spend. You have 2, I think, reasonable options here, which one is what, they're going to say that the Clevenger deal was a good idea. He pitched well last year. He's projected to be worth about 2.5 wins this year on Fangraphs. But at the same time, J.D. Davis was just out there. And J.D. Davis signs with Oakland. J.D. Davis does a lot of the things that the White Sox cannot do and fills a lot of the positions that won't exist for the White Sox next year. So there's a lot of optionality there. He's not some great player, right? Trying to make him out to be like this superstar. But he's another guy who projects to be around two WAR for this season. So I'm wondering why, when you look at what the Sox have in terms of kind of like dumpster dive pitchers in you've got Brad Keller, Jake Woodford, Chad Kuhl, Tuki Toussaint's back, by the way.
Yeah.
And then you have guys that are coming up like Nick Nastrini that he looked good in spring training. It's a guy that you could put in the rotation, and a guy who's been terrible, but like, let's see if he could get his shit together in the next month in Jared Schuster, right? Like, so there's a lot of guys there that, knowing you're not going to ramp Clevenger up for a month. Clevenger, as much as I'm hearing he's an innings eater, guy doesn't throw a lot of innings. He's 130 last year, and that's the most he's had since like 2018.
Yeah,
so
he'll eat some starts, but he ain't eating a
yeah,
bunch.
And he's not going to be ready till May.
Right.
Like, so I don't understand the urgency of getting Clevenger versus the urgency of getting someone who you obviously don't have anyone else like this on your roster. You don't, like, past Gavin Sheets, who is there? Tim Elko? Is that it? Like, show me what you're going to do if Eloy was actually going to go on the IL. Was it Lenine Sosa was going to come up and take DH at bats?
Well, I mean, I think it's going to be Robbie Grossman in very short term, but I think that's the way they see it, Treasy. I think they see it in a way that you already have Eloy, you have first base board locked. You're not going to sit Moncada for J.D. Davis to play third. You're not going to sit your left fielder. I mean, J.D. Davis doesn't really have much utility now. They could play some left field, but so I think they probably saw it as, yeah, we could use another bat, but he doesn't play any of the spots where we could actually plug that bat in.
Far more utility than Gavin Sheets, though.
I would agree with you. No, I would agree with you.
Just send Gavin
Yeah.
Sheets down.
Yeah.
He has an option.
Yeah, Gavin Sheets is just, $2 million cheaper or whatever.
Quadruple A guy.
You know what I mean?
Gavin Sheets becomes quadruple A guy.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan of Gavin Sheets, even though he's having a nice game tonight. I agree with you, and I wonder how much it is just like threading the needle of Gavin Sheets is $700K, and this guy signed for $2.5 million or whatever it was.
Yeah, but they got plenty of guys that are pitchers that are that much worse than Clevenger that they're not okay with trying out.
Right.
And they have way more of those.
Yeah.
They have in case that one guy sucks, try the next guy, try the next guy, try the next guy. Mm-hmm. And about half of them, which is kind of embarrassing on its own, are actually ready to pitch right now. A few of them need, as much ramp up time.
Yeah.
But like you didn't need to do this. Like the other one seems to be a glaring opening on your team.
Right.
Like seeing Gavin Sheets get that RBI the other night. I mean, Hawk would have had a heart attack if that was another team hitting that against us. So I was like, oh, Gavin Sheets had an RBI tonight. I was like, oh, but that was the RBI. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I think it's just the way they see it, Trees. I mean, it could have been J.D. Davis's choice too. I don't know how much playing time I'll get there, but in Oakland, I'm playing every day. I know I got an everyday spot. You never know, like when you're scraping the bottom. Like I'll make the comparison to like Paul DeYoung, right? Everyone's like, oh, well, Paul DeYoung only signed here because this is the only major league deal, and he'll get playing time here. Maybe J.D. Davis was looking down the barrel of that too, like, fuck, I got to rebuild my value. I need to play every day.
Do you think J.D. Davis looked at this team and said, "There's no way Eloy's getting hurt"? There's no way Moncada's going to need days off. Yeah,
I mean, maybe he was sold. Maybe he was sold that bill of goods. Maybe he was. Hey, you were walking the door. You ain't going to start.
Yeah.
Who knows? Or they just never even looked at him.
I'm going to guess they never even looked. Yeah. I'm going to guess they never even looked. And like that's kind of. I think that's embarrassing. I think that like if you are budget constrained like that, that's the exact kind of player you should go get, and that's the kind of guy that you could re-sign next year. Like I don't look at Clevenger as a guy who like. Put aside all the off-field stuff. Even with that, if you look at it, that's not a guy that you're going like, yeah, I'm going to sign this guy next year. Like this is a guy that like if he's doing well, let's re-up him.
No. There's no reason to have him on the team. I mean, honestly, not this year's team. Unless you did it initially, right? If you came out with them and you re-signed him and you're like, okay, he did good, we're going to keep him. Not try to oust him and nobody picked him up. Not till he's out on waivers and no one picked him up. And then we go back in and say, you know what? Let's bring him back. Especially after we heard all through fucking spring training, the pitching is so much better this year than we had last year. We have more options this year. We have 13 guys that are battling for 5 starting spots. Bullshit. And we knew it was bullshit then, but it's even more bullshit now because, and that was like, what are they just trying to hype themselves? Were they trying to like knock down Mike's
to double down on
price?
that?
I don't know.
To double down on that, we kept hearing, with Brian Bannister, guys just want to come pitch for him. Guys just want to come pitch for him.
Right. There you go.
Obviously not.
And that's scary because I mean we're big fans. The what they were saying sounded good, and what they were like where he was saying it. I wasn't expecting a dramatic turnaround immediately. Like we're like, oh, they're gonna go in and do this, but I expected a little bit more than what we've gotten so far.
I still like Bannister. I still like Bannister. But it's just that they were selling it as, oh, we're gonna be able to get more guys because we got great fielders. We've got Brian Bannister, and then you didn't, and then you're all of a sudden you shit your pants like 2 days into the season and sign a guy off the scrap heap. What happened? What was the urgent need that like suddenly changed you? I don't get it.
The one thing that I was hearing from I lost it. The Normie media said something good, and I can't remember. It was like, if you're one pitcher away, like a Chapman, for the Cubs, like you can take on a little bit of an outside noise for a problem for a guy, a piece that you need that's going to make you go to the next level. Michael Clevenger is not going to put us at a next level. We're not going to go anywhere because he's on the team. We're not going to win more games because he's on it, or that many more games because he's on the team. It's just, and it looks bad, and people are like understandably upset that the guy is back again. So yeah, I don't know, man. It is this people arguing. Loaf, I think you said it perfectly. I think if people want to know, like, I think what we're thinking about it, like, you just go watch theAju from Monday. You did a really good job explaining it. It's just not a very. This is not a good situation. It's already
just a puzzling. It's a puzzling move overall.
Yeah.
I don't really see the upside to it. The downside is twofold. One is you're getting a guy who a lot of people don't like, and the other is this guy always gets fucking injured. So like, what did you
could
even
be hurt,
do?
ineffective. I mean, you're not even. Yeah, I mean that.
He's not ready to pitch. He's not going to be ready to pitch till May. So you're still going to have to deal with bullpen games or add someone to the 40 to pitch games and knock another guy off the 40-man roster. Or you just go all bullpen and then you get him. And if he sucks or if he gets hurt, which he gets hurt every year. Like, look at his innings pitched every year. Not great. All right. Let's talk about something more positive. Let's talk about Beefloaf's guy, Garrett Crochet.
My guy?
I mean, you've been on the John Holmes front of Garrett Crochet.
I knew he had a big one, but I didn't know it was this big. I'll be honest with you guys. I didn't know it was that big.
So far, two terrific starts out of Garrett Crochet, but I'd like to get your guys' thoughts. Beef, I'll kick to you first because you've been quiet. It's weird. You've been quiet, so I need to hear from you.
I gotta, you gotta give you guys your shine, and I'll fill in a little bit here.
Yes.
Yeah, Garrett Crochet had the two best first starts in White Sox history according to strikeouts. Had 16 strikeouts across his first 2 starts. Mm-hmm. I just checked him out on Fangraphs. Their WAR for starting pitchers, he is third. 0.5 F4 already after only 2 starts in the season. He's just behind Shane Bieber and Zach Wheeler coming into tonight's game. By Stuff Plus qualified starters, he is tied for 12th at 107. His slider is a 147. It's a fucking monster ass pitch. But the one thing, like, encapsulated exactly the way I've been thinking about Garrett Crochet is our good friend White Sox Dave took to Twitter last night. I didn't even know he's still watching the White Sox. But he did a 2-minute video talking about Garrett Crochet, and he highlighted 2 very important points, very salient out of Mr. Williams. One, he said they're letting him actually pitch. They're not babying him. So they're putting him out here to start. They're not saying, okay, you get 50 pitches and you're out of the fucking game and it's like an incubator situation. No, you're doing a real start when you go out there. And he's handled those real starts like a starting pitcher would. Now, they've been reasonably cautious. He's gotten up to 87 and 93 pitches in the 2 starts. So they haven't really burned him hard on the back end there. But he was efficient. So he was able to get through those innings with those amount of pitches. He had good game scores, too, a 66 and 74. If you know, game score 50 is kind of right in the middle. And as the closer you get to 100, those are like elite game scores. The second point he made is that we know that Garrett Crochet, overpowering Garrett Crochet. When he came up in 2020, he was throwing 100-mile-an-hour BBs, and we were like, holy shit, look at this monster, right? But what Dave said is that he's actually pitching, and he's pitching all over the place, top of the zone, bottom of the zone, in and out to hitters. And the key here is he's throwing strikes. He's thrown 69% strikes, boys, out of those pitches in his games, which is elite to be able to do that and have so little activity, so little people hitting the ball hard off him.
When you look at it, this is the impressive piece of these two games, and what I think can continue on, and what's promising to me, is he's only thrown 180 pitches, but he's pitched 13 innings. Right?
That's exactly.
That's less than 14 pitches per inning. If you think about that in a normal game, you could go 7 innings and not hit 100. Like that's exactly what you want out of a pitcher. It's the thing that we've had problems with guys like Dylan Cease. I mean, like if you want to go in a little bit of a more way back machine into the 2016 era, but a guy like Jose Quintana who would get a lot of pitches under his belt really quickly. We've had a lot of these guys in recent vintage, and it's so problematic because it drains your bullpen. It affects the way that the game flow goes. It's just bad overall, and you get a lot of walks, and you keep putting guys on base. Seeing him go at guys, and to the point about velocity, his velocity is down from last year, which is expected. He was a reliever, and he's going to starting, but it's still very effective, and he's still getting weak contact. He's still throwing strikes. He's not giving up walks. Like, if you could continue to do that, even as things regress, right? Like, ultimately, things will probably regress. The book will be out on Crochet. People will learn to hit him better. If he's still pitching that efficiently, though, and giving you 6-7 innings, that's some real magic there. Like, that's what you can't get out of these other guys, and that's what you need on a staff like this. So, like, that's what's exciting to me about it, is just the fact that he's not dilly-dallying around trying to like go like, I gotta strike everybody out, and I don't care if I walk the guy because it has to be a strikeout or else, right? And he's still getting the strikeouts.
Yep,
going at these guys. So I'm just, that's the part that I really like.
I liked his pitching performance, as I noted earlier on Tuesday. I got to actually watch it and see him go into it, and then just to be with him, like with the team, then the rest of the game, like excited, and we're just like, hey, we're trying to do this. That win felt good, and then it also felt good just watching him do it. It felt so good that I had second thoughts about how bad this team might be. And we're like, well, wait a second, maybe they're right. You know, maybe they're right that this team is actually a little bit better. Garrett Crochet deserved to be the number one starter. Well, on his team, he's definitely the number one starter. We're not fucking playing that. But like, it's like, okay, well, maybe this isn't as bad. Maybe, you know, you have some of these guys coming up and hitting, but then you see them again, this fucking totally shit the bed against the Kansas City Royals, and they're down like fucking 9 runs in an inning, and they're like, okay, well, maybe they're not. Maybe this isn't. Maybe it is as bad. But I don't know. I liked Garrett Crochet coming out. I fucking hate Jerry O'Sullivan for saying, when does the Crochet trade talk start?
Well, I want to ask this question. I do want to get this out because
one nice thing we got to get rid of it.
Well, I mean, and NWI Steve was yelling at me in the DMs today. We were discussing this very topic here. Garrett Crochet, new starter, but he's been here for a while, and he only has 2 years of control after this.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the runway is for 2024 as far as innings and what he can get to or whatever. But do you trade him at the deadline, or if this keeps going well? We got to assume everything continues to go well, and this is like a fairy tale scenario. Yeah. Or do you like bite the bullet and say, look, we're going to hold him, and we're going to attempt to be good next year right away, and say, look, now we got a guy, we have found gold. Like, how do you do this?
So let me, to people listening, there's few people that I spend more time talking with than Beef, and there's no one I talk more White Sox baseball with than Beef Loaf. And let me give you the two ends of the spectrum here on Beef Loaf calling out trades that should happen in his mind, and where we could be, because there's only two options here. Beef long ago was on the trade Michael Kopech train. He wanted to trade Michael Kopech very early on when people were like very boned up about Michael Kopech. He's like, I don't know if he's going to be a starter. And if he's not a starter, how much is he really worth? And we should think about trading him. And I was kind of like, I don't know, man. Like, you're going to throw away a starting pitcher? But then on the other end,
Oops.
he was like, let's trade Luis Robert for Eugenio Suarez. And
Amir Garrett, how dare you?
Amir Garrett, I'm sorry. Oh,
Don't you cheapen my trade up, you bastard.
well, let me take it back then. But that's what we're talking about here. That's what we're talking about here is we're 2 starts into Garrett Crochet, and people couldn't be more excited. I'm very excited about him. I'm happy that the results are way more than I expected, and just it's awesome. I was this excited about Michael Kopech a few years back, right?
Yes, sir.
On the other side, similar feelings about Luis Robert. And you could see it going either way. But, Beef, I'll tell you this. I mentioned to our good friend Josh Nelson from Sox Machine. Oh, man, me and Beef were arguing the other day about are they going to try and trade Crochet at the deadline? And he's like, what? What is Beef talking about? And so now I'm even more concerned because there might be another steak dinner bet on the line between you guys.
Oh man!
And then we know Crochet's getting traded.
Yeah,
I don't want to drag this out, but my one thought when looking at this roster, we've made a lot of like, okay, there's either people who are here for the short term, and the best thing you do is like they're a placeholder. They can kind of block guys from coming up, or you can trade them, right? That's most of the crew. Or you got guys who are going to be here longer term, who you're like, okay, this is someone to build for the future. He has the medium term amount of time.
Right, that's what makes
it's awkward. You
that's
know,
what makes it difficult, right? It's like, okay, if we're going to suck next year, then what is the utility in still having him and worrying that like this guy could get injured at any moment?
If motherfuckers are like, we should trade Luis Robert, which I'm not one of them. Now I'm not one of them. I was back then. If you're like trading Luis Robert, why wouldn't you be trading Garrett Crochet? You ain't gonna give him no extension or nothing. Like that's my thought process. But I don't want to dour it. I'll jump off my soapbox now. And in July when they trade him, you guys can all yell at me.
Let's get a couple of drinks real quick.
Do that real quick because I got another comment here.
Chicago's Finest says the best Sox pod out there.
Oh, bless you.
Cheers to continued success.
Thanks.
Thank you, Chicago's Finest.
Thank you, Finest.
They also ask, what do you guys think the goal of this? I think this is the front office is.
Yeah.
And I mean, the current goal is to convince the fans, the owner really,
Taxpayers.
that this is on the upswing, that this is getting better. Right. We're showing signs of improvement. Garrett Crochet really helps that argument.
He does.
Garrett Crochet is going like these. The previous guys were fucking shit up, and now we've got this guy. Everything else, I'm just you're still very much in limbo. Like Nicky Lopez can definitely play the field. Like he looks really good out there. Can he hit? Probably not. Like so, like it's like how far have you actually come? I think that they by the end of the year expect to show mild improvement on the way to spending a bit more in the next offseason. If I'm looking at what Chris Getz is probably thinking, that's the best I can get out of what I've seen him do so far.
Plus, you got a
and thank you for the drink,
Paul DeYoung out there. John Carney asks, why does Kopech wear long sleeves when it's 90 degrees and short sleeves when it's 35? Now,
from the guy that we know, TJ McFarland, who's a professional pitcher, he wears long sleeves too. And what he said, even when it's hot and crazy out there, he wears the long sleeves because it stops the sweat from going onto his hands. So he'll wear that. So it would kind of lend that this is probably the same reason. Kopech isn't going to be sweating a lot when it's 35 degrees out, so he doesn't need it. So then he can have the loose sleeves or no sleeves, short sleeves, and then when it's hot, he's got that long sleeve to catch the sweat. That's why TJ does it. So
far better answer than I was going to have, that he might be doing heroin.
Well, potentially too.
No, but I wouldn't have thought of
is.
that MSS, but that's a really good point.
I think that's what it is. Because that was always crazy to us too. It's like, it's fucking 93 degrees out. TJ, why are you wearing that? He's like, well, it keeps the sweat off my hand, and I can grip the ball better, even with the spider tag.
All right, Beef, you got anything else on Garrett Crochet? You want to get to the next thing? So we're 1 week in. I want to get the takeaways from you guys on the first week. One takeaway each. I'm going to go to MSS first while he pours himself a drink.
So the biggest thing that I took away, and it was that opening day, and I was sitting in my seat, and I was just looking up at the scoreboard. We were in there early, and then when they started the game and everyone's starting to come in, and it wasn't full, I felt very comfortable, and I was like, these are like the OG White Sox fans. These are the diehard White Sox fans that are here right now. There's only 20-some thousand people there, and I felt good in that. I was like, if this is the fan base that we're going to get, this is the kind of people that we're going to get all year, I'm good with this. I don't need the 37, 38, 39,000 people crowds of people that are half paying attention and are doing whatever else. Give me the core people that want to come out and watch this game and watch this team, and we'll celebrate the minor victories, like Paul DeYoung going fucking deep, like this shit like that. So that was my big takeaway for like off the field stuff. Also, no lines. Didn't have any problems using my fucking code as a season ticket holder. I got my 15% off everywhere. That was awesome. I was very.
I had tons of problems.
Did you really?
I only had a problem the very first time, because they didn't really know what to do with it, and then it got going after.
Yeah, no one got trained on how to use that.
No,
thing.
I think that was intentional. They're like, oh man, because I bet you 50% of people, especially you, Chirizi, who don't like the wait, you're just like, yeah, fuck it, don't worry about it, and then they get that 15% back, and Jerry's happy.
I did not.
As far as
I was going to say, he didn't come close to doing that. And wait, who does like to wait? Hang on. Are there people who are like, oh, you know what? I would love to wait extra time if I could. But please put me in no long line so I wait longer. What the hell are you talking about?
I'm saying there is a happy place between not waiting at all and waiting for forever. Okay, I'm right in the middle of those two things. Like,
you're a little more patient.
Your brother is very much where I don't like to wait at all. Fuck it. That's it. I'm if it's not there, I'm gone. And that's fine.
That's why I want you to sit in front of me so I could just use you as a urinal.
That's not nice at all.
No, that was very unpleasant. I must say that.
I don't like what he just said.
And we've been saying how Treasy bullies us in private, but now he's bullying in public. He doesn't care. He said he will urinate on you.
I feel like everyone has to take a drink,
and
because
not
he
in a pleasurable way. Yeah, he didn't say it in a pleasurable way. It wasn't going to be a fun sexual act between you guys. He was being mean to you.
I thought he was into it.
No, I am not. Even though I'm on Reddit and my history would show different.
Matt says, I'm there for the lines. The game was a distraction. I agree. I agree. And then K-Duck says, Chorizo, big R. Kelly guy. Allegedly. We're going to talk music a little bit, but not R. Kelly.
MSS is of age.
But yeah, no. And then as far as positives, Paul DeYoung obviously leading the team in home runs with Luis Robert with 2. With Luis Robert leading the team. Both of them are leading the team. Is good, and then Garrett Crochet. Obviously, those are my takeaways. Positive. Takeaways.
Got a quick drink here from Danny Miller. He says, "Thanks for trying to talk me off the ledge today, Beef. Not sure it actually worked, but thanks anyways. Cheers."
I'm out in the streets trying to tell everyone this Jose Rodriguez thing. Just don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, I don't want to see Popeye go, but sometimes these guys gotta go. It's not that big of a deal.
They gotta go.
They go, and then we never see them again. Anyways,
they're never heard from again.
Beef, give me a week 1 takeaway.
My week 1 takeaway might be a little admonished by tonight's game, because I looked up at one point in the inning where they got absolutely bombed for 7 runs or 8 runs or whatever it was, and Braden Shoemaker is booting the ball that's right fucking to him that should have ended the inning. So, but my takeaway was before tonight, the defense has been clean as advertised. Now, I wouldn't say the defense is a weapon. I wouldn't say, oh, this is a top defense, but to me, this is at least an average to above average defense. I looked up some defensive metrics. Now, tough to believe after 5-6 games. I wouldn't believe them yet. I wouldn't believe them probably until we get to midseason. But right now, where the White Sox stand, 10th in MLB defensive efficiency. That's a baseball reference. 3rd at outs above average, and they are 19th in defensive runs saved. That's all of that. Even the 19th is a huge upgrade over the 2023 team. So what we're seeing out there is just a cleaner brand of ball, but no one who's like a great defender other than flashes from Luis, flashes from Yohan Moncada, but generally they're just kind of making plays, and that just is a nice thing for us to watch. Tonight, notwithstanding, with Braden Shoemaker making a big error and causing 500 runs, basically. And so that's the first real ball. But before that, the worst play that I saw was Paul DeJong throw like he has vertigo to Shoemaker for a force, and the ball goes into right field. Now, luckily, Dominic Fletcher, my guy, was backing it up and threw the runner out at the plate. So they even at least are backing up plays and kind of are conscious defensively in a way that they just weren't last year. Like last year, they were just an unmitigated disaster on that side of the ball. And so to me, the takeaway is that will probably look okay. I think that's probably going to look okay for the whole year. Will they be top 10? Will they be somewhere in the middle? I don't know, but I don't think they'll be like last by a mile like they have been some years.
Yeah. That's good. Chorizo.
MSS, if Beef brought up Fletcher, and you've got multiple paisans on this team. Have any of them seen you do this to them? You've been
He didn't give any positives to how many paisans or to any of his paisans. He didn't say shit about them.
He's been,
you know what?
Fake Italian. Fake Italian.
They've been snubbing him, so
Why?
I think it's fine.
I don't know if Paul DeJong might be fucking Italian, and I fucking gargle his balls every fucking podcast. Jesus Christ! Christ!
He's a quarter Italian.
I have I'm totally 100% considering buying stuff off DH Gate, so I might have an Italia jersey soon.
Yes.
The problem is the 2017 Italia jersey is much nicer than the 2023 one. So I don't know. I can get the old one, I think, with Fletcher on there, so that's fine. So maybe once I do that, he will pay attention to me. So definitely a Fletcher guy, not a Nicky Lopez guy. I can't go to Naperville. Fuck that. I got enough Naperville in my life. All right, I don't need that shit. What about you, Chorizo? What's your week one takeaway?
So the one thing that I was noticing from the lineups is that Braden Shoemaker is getting in the lineup quite a bit, which I like, because of the guys that are going to be around for a while, he is one option, right? And he might be terrible. I'm not saying like, oh man, this is the guy. I love it. But I like that rather than going, let's just use him sparingly as a utility guy, they're getting him in the lineup close to every day and figuring out, is this guy anything? You know, and can this guy play? Can he play shortstop? The knock on him has been the arm's not accurate enough from short. Can he play shortstop? Can he play second base? Can he hit major league pitching? Answering those questions as quickly as possible is important for guys that are going to be under contract. Paul DeJong, MSS, I hope he hits 20 home runs, but he ain't going to be here next year. We know he's not going to be here next year. Right. He's a stopgap.
He'll be done gargling his balls by the end of the year.
And I don't need to see him every day because of that. You know what I mean? Like that's like if they're going against a right-hander that could throw above 92 miles per hour, he probably shouldn't be in the lineup anyways. So get Braden Shoemaker in there.
One of his home runs came off a pinch hit. I don't give a fuck as long as he comes in and hits bombs. That's all I've been asking for. So if he can come in and be a late inning defensive replacement, which I don't think he would probably is that either, but that's okay. And Treasy, I think you're right. That is you are going towards the future. And correct me if I'm wrong, but if these guys were consistent and they showed consistency and were like, whatever, we would not have signed them. Right? They wouldn't have wanted. They would have been more of a contract. They've been higher money, whatever. We're taking flyers on a majority of this team to see what they can do. And so,
I don't hate the DeJong. I don't hate the DeJong signing, right? I mean, like we could have got the Hahn era Montgomery's ready, and just throw him up to the majors and see
Right,
what
yeah.
happens, and just count on that, right? Instead, they put someone in front of him, which I like. Put DeYoung in front of him. That's fine. I wrote that beautiful blog. Paul DeYoung is a shortstop.
John Carney says Shoemaker is Caucasian Lurie. I might have to make a meme of that, John. I'm sorry.
You know what though?
I might have to
If he
steal that from you.
is, if he is, that's a reasonably valuable player to have on
It
your
is.
team.
Yeah, especially if they're basically for free. I mean, the league
Right.
minimum, it's like, oh, we got him here. Great.
Yeah.
We have to sign this guy.
Don't give him 3
Don't
and
give him
15 or
million.
whatever.
Yeah, no. League
But-
minimum is nice for that guy.
But MSS, if they do, I definitely want a huge press conference for it.
Right? I mean,
yeah.
that's like, as long as that's not the only signing we have, that would be great.
But yeah, so I like the idea of like, let's get the and see what they are and see what we have here. Which again, just to circle back to the top of the show, is that's what confounds me more about the Clevenger thing.
Yes.
Why not bring up Nastrini and find out what you've got there? Why don't if you think you can fix some of these other guys, figure that out. I don't know.
Tracy, I think they are going to bring Nastrini up because there was something up today about he had kind of a bad start in Charlotte, but they said he was sick. They don't want to bring him up when he's sick. I think they're bringing him up. I think they saw the first Chris Flexen start and are like, that was not a good start. And we all saw it too, and it's like, I don't think this one's going to work out. Not all of your gambits are going to work, Mr. Bannister. This one's probably not going to.
I saw it in person, and I had to do a cameo right after it, and they were like, give him shit about how great Chris Flexen's going to be or something, and I was like, oh, I don't know. I just saw it live. It was not great. And, and everyone's like, oh, well, the bats are cold. That's why Garrett Crochet is doing so well. They were not cold that day. There was a lot of action. There's a lot of hitting going on, so it seemed totally fine. So, yeah.
Yeah, Flexen might be fine. I mean, like, that's the thing that bums me out about that is that he went through the exact same thing as Eric Fetty though. Like he went to Korea, was good, and then they're like, oh, let's bring him back, and he's been bad.
Yeah,
it's not good.
So let's hope Eric Fetty doesn't follow in his footsteps, and let's hope that Flexen gets his shit together. But that may be a little bit tougher.
Teresa, we got a drink I think out there.
Get it up there, man. Let's do it.
Put it up there. There we go.
Oh, I got Chuck.
Chuck.
Hey, Chuck.
It's gonna be a long season, so drink up. Cheers, Chuck.
Thank you, Chuck. It's a good point. Good point.
He's not wrong.
Not at all.
All right, I think it's time to maybe pay some bills there, my friend.
Let's do that.
Baseball is back, White Sox fans, and we're thrilled to have you back on the South Side and excited to help you make this season even more special. Whether you're celebrating a win or lamenting a loss, there's no better way to do it than in a Mazda from Mazda of Orland Park. Driving a Mazda is a truly thrilling experience. It's just like watching Paul DeYoung hit homers at the park. And just like Paul, Mazda cars are some of the most reliable and stylish vehicles on the road. They offer an enjoyable driving experience with sleek designs and advanced technology. Mazdas are also fuel efficient, making them a practical choice for those who want to save money on gas. So why not take your car game to the next level and test drive a Mazda today? Mazda of Orland Park, home of the Zoom Zoom Nation. 8910 West 159th Street, Orland Park. 708-444-3200. Zoom Zoom.
Nice. Beautiful image.
That was gorgeous.
Love it.
I saw Daryl when we were up in the Vizzy View, having that milkshake and filming the first of its kind milkshake review, and he was just as awesome as ever. That guy's like our age, and he's running around there with all them kids whipping shit. And I told him, I was like, the first shot that you took out of that t-shirt cannon, it like plopped over the wall. He's like, yeah, I miscalibrated. So then I did the second one. He shot it really long, and it went way to the back of the 108. Like it was just way up there.
Big
He's like,
long shot.
Yeah, he's like, I was really worried I was going to hit the window, and then I was going to get yelled at for shooting that too far. And I was like, yeah, you don't want another Benny the Bull situation where you're shooting people.
Or Slugger.
Or Slugger.
Shooting hot dogs in people's eyes.
Yeah. Shooting his own hot dog in his eye. Jesus.
Well,
Christ,
that's
all this.
Hello.
Both of those happen.
Both those things happen. All right.
Oh, good devil horns, baby. Because we're gonna get into some music right now. Because
Yeah.
March 8th, 1994. March 8th, 1994, over 30 years ago, just over 30 years ago, Soundgarden released Superunknown, one of my favorite albums. And much like we did for the 30th anniversary of In Utero, I wanted to do a quick power ranking of the tracks on Superunknown. This is solely my opinion. I'm going to get your guys' opinion on my rankings. Now, some things I learned about this album as I was looking at it. I didn't realize some of the people that had worked on the album. So it was produced by, I think it was by Michael Beinhorn. And so he's worked with the Chili Peppers before that. He did Mother's Milk, and then he did a lot of other stuff. Mm-hmm. But the assistant engineer on this album, Adam Casper, he's worked with Foo Fighters. He's produced Foo Fighter albums. He produced Songs for the Deaf by Queens of the Stone Age. Like, guys, ultra career. Great producer. But yes, just happened to be the assistant engineer on this album. And then mixed by Brendan O'Brien, who you remember from Stone Temple Pilots. I think he worked with AC/DC and some others. It's crazy to see, like, when you get some of these, like, you know, when you get a 30-year-old album and then you look, it's just kind of like, who all worked on this album? And it's like, oh man, all these guys ended up doing a lot of cool shit. But as you know, I'm a huge Soundgarden fan, my favorite band of all time. And this is how I'm breaking it down for this album. And I want to start at the bottom.
Okay. Yes.
And like, I feel a little bit bad about putting half in the meh, but dude, it's just like, it's a weird ass song. I love Ben Shepherd, but it's just a weird ass song. It fits the album. And that's kind of the thing about this album is it's so incredibly good as a front to back album, but some of these songs are really just interludes in the album, right? They, like, on their own, they don't stand up as well as a solo song.
Right.
And Fresh Tendrils, to me, is the exception of all of this, is where it's a fine song, but I never felt like it fit the album. Like, if they had B-sided Fresh Tendrils, I don't think I would have noticed. Like, I think the album would have still flowed just as well. So I've got those two down in the meh line.
Yeah, I was going to say, this album is 15 tracks. If you were going to make it 12, these are two of the songs I would cut as well. Like, when I was doing a re-listen earlier today, I was like, yeah, I don't know. You know, not 100% sure.
Head Down I really like that track. I have that in the good. So if I'm looking at the good, and I'll read this out for the podcast listeners. Under good, I have Mailman, not Mailman Jack. Mailman Jack will be much higher. just Mailman. Head Down and Kickstand. Kickstand's cool. It's, you know, it's like a punk song, and it's just like kind of like it changes the vibe in the middle of that album, like really, really nicely. But then Head Down, I like that song so much. I like it, but it is really just the interlude between Superunknown and Black Hole Sun. Like, that's what it's there for. It's there to bridge those two songs, and it does it perfectly. But I don't go to it a lot. Like, I don't go like, ooh, I want to listen to Head Down, you know, like, so that's why it ends up there.
MSS, what do you think?
So I'm listening to this real quick, right? And I had to go and see where they were, like, on the record. And yes, there is a divide in this record because it is so fucking long, where you're just like, okay, this is like these songs aren't not where I want them to be. So yeah, no, I'm not wrong. I don't think you've picked anything wrong so far.
I was going to say, I think out of this group, I would rate Kickstand higher, but I agree with you. Like, it's higher as a standalone song, as its own thing. It's great as this short little almost punk song, like you're talking about. It is a weird fit on the album to me. Like, you're right. It's kind of like transitioning something here to the next group of songs, because it doesn't sound like the front side of it. Like the old school album thing, front side, back side. This is a backside song that doesn't sound like a front side song. It sounds like it got in there later, but as its own jam, I like it better than I would put it higher than the group it's currently in. Me personally. So.
All right, so I'll go on to the great. I got 4th of July. 4th of July to me, I think listening back to the album, the only knock on it I have from it being these are great songs. So I'm like, I love these songs. The knock I have on it from being amazing is that it is just a little too sludgy, which is weird because I love good sludge, but especially kind of the beginning of the song is just a little too sludgy for me. At least in terms of for Soundgarden. Let Me Drown. It's probably not the strongest track, but it's a really great start to the album. It kicks off the album. It gives you a feel of like, all right, we have a rock album here, but it's gonna be depressing.
Yeah.
Well, this is where I was gonna disagree with you because I think it's a fine song, but I don't think it's a great 1-1. I think if I were creating this album again and putting the tracks in order, I would put Spoon Man 1-1. I would leave that off the record with Spoon Man.
Now,
Am I biased because they let off the show when we were there?
Yes. I was just going to say, I'm not going to disagree with you because we've all seen, we've seen them start a show with Spoon Man, and what a fucking opening track.
That's a great opening,
What
right?
an opening track. It's awesome.
We can't talk about Spoon Man right now. We got to
Well,
wait for it.
You're right.
We can't talk about it. But this is where you made your first mistake. Let Me Drown definitely needs to be higher. This is a better song.
Oh.
It definitely does kick the album off. Now here's the problem with your shit, Treasy. Like most normal thing that you love this album, it's a great album. So your lowest is poor, right? You're just bad song, right? Your lowest are just songs that just don't rock as hard as you want them to rock. It's all
these are
good,
great albums. There's not going to be
So-
a shitty thing.
So
I think
hard. It's hard to take away. You call it a great song. It is a great song, but I think "Let Me Drown" is definitely should be a little bit higher, a little bit higher. Super Unknown too. I think should be a little bit higher.
Superunknown's a great song too. I agree. Yeah.
MSS, the way that I look at this is if they were going to say we're doing this album front to back,
Yeah.
right? Which songs am I you know what? You should have played a song from a different album,
Yeah.
right? Great and Above, there's no way. You want to hear these songs every time. But there's subtle flaws to these songs. Super Unknown is 30 to 40 seconds too long. That's the only thing that's
Yeah, I
wrong
can
with
see
that
that.
song. And they drag out the ending so much that you have to put Head Down in there to break up the next bit because you're just you need a palate cleanser before you get to Black Hole Sun because it's just it's extended just too much. Great drinking song, just Blow Up the Outside World though. But so I get to Amazing.
Chicago's Finest says, "I'll get hate. Soundgarden better than Pearl Jam. You ain't gonna
Won't
get
get
much
it
hate
from
in
me.
this room."
I mean, it's not the same band, honestly. I mean, they're I would think Soundgarden is more of I don't want to say heavy metal, but more
We're gonna
full-on,
get to that
rock.
and we're gonna get to that in just a second. But so my wave. Now, I'm partial to this song because it's a very bass heavy song. The bass line in this song is absolutely incredible. It would be Imperfection had I not gone out and bought a bass wah because of this song and then realized only Ben Shepherd should be allowed to use that. I shouldn't have one. So he wasted $100 of my money. So it does not make the perfection for me.
I love that song. I love
Spoon
that
Man. I think could be in perfection. It's a great.
Yeah, it's a great song.
It's a great track. It's just I couldn't put everything up there. And then Limo Wreck, I think is something that in 1994 could not be a single. But if they were releasing this album today, I think Limo Wreck would be a single on this album. It's got too much 80s metal to it for a 1994 track. It's a great track. It's the everything about it is fantastic. I love it.
This is where I'm going to get in a fight with Treasy. Little Wreck, to me, the worst song on this album. And not only is it the worst song, it's so fucking long. It's 6 fucking minutes. And it's like, when is this song going to end so we can get to something better? And it's like kind of right in the middle of the album, too. I do not enjoy that song at all. I would put it below meh. I would put it at bad or crappy or something like that. It's the only, to me, when listening to this album earlier today, the only clunker. The only one where I'm like, that song stinks. I don't like it.
See, this just validates what I'm saying to me, because you hate 80s metal. Like, with the exception of like Guns N' Roses, you're out on pretty much on all of it.
A lot of it, yeah.
And I think this is the one that has the most remnant of that, and I think it's a really great track. I get it. I'm sure other people do not like this track. That's probably why it wasn't a single. But
no, it's not a single. I don't like it either. That's where you need to get the "Let Me Drown" move up to the next level. Because
not going to happen. But I appreciate your comment.
No, I know. Hey, listen, these are your rankings, sir.
No, I like hearing it though. I understand not loving that, but like it's to me it's a good track.
I mean, you know what I like. You know that I don't like acoustic music mostly because it takes all the rock out of things and it doesn't move fast. So if it's slow and melodic, a lot of times I don't like it. And then especially when it comes into the 90s, and in a band like Soundgarden, you know that can do it. You're just like, come on, man. Like, just rock out a little more. Like, speed it up. Like, this is fucking, you're going too slow. So, yeah.
I will give you, like, I will ask you to just listen to the last, like, minute and a half of it, MSS, and listen to the guitar work. I think you might come back on that last comment. You might still hate the song, but you might come back on the last comment.
I don't hate it. I just think you put it up too high.
The Day I Tried to Live, I think,
love it.
Would be Imperfection. For some reason, I heard this song way too much. Like,
you must have put on a mixtape or something.
Like, it's just like it's one of those things where it's like somehow I heard this more than Black Hole Sun, and like I don't get how
impossible.
that even happened.
Or Spoon Man, even. I mean, Spoon Man and Black Hole Sun. Oh, just too much.
What I put in the
Not
top
enough
line
for me for Black
what I
Hole
put in the top line is in the Perfection, and this is something that like a guy told me like a long time ago, and he said, if you can't, whatever song you write, like you're writing it for a punk band, whatever, if you can't play it on an acoustic guitar and make it sound like a good song, it's not a good song. You haven't written a good song. You might have something that people will listen to, but you haven't written a good song. And these 3 songs at the top, you could fucking have Chris Cornell just sing it to you by himself. Like, just not even like a guitar. Maybe just have Matt Cameron playing on his knees, just like slapping around, and like that's all you got. These are great songs. These are fantastic songs. Now I will tell you my favorite song on this album is in the Perfection. It's Like Suicide. I mean, heavy song, like both in terms of the music and in terms of the material. But this is really where I feel like Kim Thayil and Chris Cornell, they really gelled on this album in being able to mix the lines of vocals and solos. And there's some parts in Like Suicide that are wild, where you can almost for a second not tell if it's Chris Cornell singing like the end of his line or if it's Kim Thayil playing guitar. And I think it's just like the coolest thing. And Like Suicide is a song where you're like emotionally drained at the end of it, which is why I don't have the different version of this album. I think it was like a international version where she like surprises is the 16th track.
Right.
I hate that because like Suicide ends this album on both such a down note, but on also such a like an experience of a song. Like you really feel everything about that song. And now in hindsight, it's even more ridiculous in terms of like, Chris Cornell's life and like what transpired. But like this song, I think is just perfection. And I've heard it acoustic many times, and it's beautiful acoustic too. But the full version with everything is just a perfect song.
Yeah, these three songs in the top row, Black Hole Sun, Like Suicide, Fell on Black Days. When you think about Soundgarden, like the best instrument, single instrument in any band in the 90s is Chris Cornell's vocals. And they're on display. The wide range of what they can do are on display beautifully in those three songs. And before MSS comes in here and shits on Black Hole Sun because he's a fucking 90s idiot, and anytime something's played a lot, he gets mad about it. That video is the best rock video of the 90s. And I listened to that song again today a couple times, and I'm like, this song is so fucking good, man. I can't believe that a pop song like this came out of like a borderline metal band. I can't believe this came spilling out of them in some way, somehow. So yeah, I mean, there's disagreements with the top row.
There's pop elements to it. There's like psychedelic, like Beatles elements to that song. Like it's fantastic. Like the Black Hole Sun is an all-time great song. It's probably one of their top 3 or 4 songs they've ever written.
I guess just to give this a little bit of cadence, okay? I didn't like Spoon Man either. I didn't think Spoon Man was a great. That song was played to death too. Black Hole Sun played to death, just everywhere, right? Like you just could not get away from that fucking song. I've gone back and listened to Spoon Man within recent years after, you becoming you are the super fan, Jersey, of Soundgarden. And so I'm like, I should give him another chance. Had a little experience with Chris Cornell at a fucking show where it kind of turned me off. It was just like, he was on his solo days and he kept announcing songs and saying, I wrote this song and here's another song I wrote and here's another one of my favorites and all this. And I was just like very put off by it. I was just like, this is weird. It was a weird thing, but guy had some, it's fine. But I went back and listened to this stuff. Spoon Man, I like listening to. Like the song is good, and I like listening to it. Black Hole Sun, I just cannot get past it. I just can't. I don't like the song. Like, and I didn't like it then. I didn't like the video. I just don't like it. I don't know why. It's just not. It's not on my. It's catchy. It's fucking great. I mean, I understand why people.
I'm blown away by you not. I can understand if you were like, I can't put this in perfection. Like you're just not liking the song,
or like it was just played out. The guy who's an art major said, "Black Hole Sun, not good." I can't
don't
believe
like it.
He's giving me all this shit's played out. He's a Pearl Jam fan.
And he goes to listen to the first 3 albums that were played nonstop for the last 30 years.
Hey, there's definitely songs on Pearl Jam's records that I don't like. And there's a shitload of Pearl Jam songs I don't like. Like a lot of stuff that these nerds like Luke love, like these Pearl Jam fuckers, like they love some of this shit.
Now he's throwing people under the bus.
Can't stand it.
He's saying these other idiots also don't like these songs.
She's got to watch it. Okay,
she ain't watching nothing. She'll keep smacking you.
He's talking about time is money, blah blah blah, all this stuff. Of course, I get it, but like also, the longer we go, the more likely we're to get tipped. So that's like money, Let's make it happen.
One thing I want to say about this album before we jump off of it, and because the Pearl Jam thing reminded me, and I wanted to make sure I said this. This is some of Matt Cameron's best work, and I think the production on this. His drums sound so fucking cool on this song, on this whole album. Like this, like there's parts where just cut the rest of the music and just let Matt Cameron and Chris Cornell go, and it's still gonna be it's still gonna be a better song than any of us could ever make. Like it's just like there's like. You could put it up against half the shit on the radio right now and just say, we're just going to do the drum track and the vocals, and it's still a better song.
No, listen, it's good. Black Hole Sun's not good, but all these other songs are good. I Fell on Black Days is great. Like Suicide, I'm not a fan either. I mean, that could get moved down, but I don't think it's a bad song, and I know why you like it. Like, I can understand that. I know you well enough for that. I feel like one of my favorite songs on this whole thing is My Wave. I like My Wave a lot. I like the jams. I like The Day I Try to Live's intro, guitar stuff, and I love Fell on Black Days intros too. Like that clean, like easy guitar, slightly distorted, you know, and I think it's great. I mean, I just can't get by it. And maybe
that song has the most Smoking Popes in it. That's why I like it.
No.
Well, I mean, My Wave, I get My Wave because he used to live out west.
Yeah,
He used to live out west. That is a very West Coast
big
song.
surfer. I get fucking Ruhan Luke's trying to tell me that Pearl Jam's current drummer is Matt Cameron. I know who that is. And
I know.
He was like, oh, it's the
Why do you think I said? I think I said
do you not know
Pearl Jam reminded me of this, that I wanted to talk about it.
It's listen, Soundgarden. I'm gonna be straight up. I was not a fan, Treasy, when we first and you are a huge fan. I have come around a lot on Soundgarden since we've known each other. I'm like, I need to listen to this and give it a second chance because I was not a big fan of them the whole time. I like their popular songs on the other record, Bad Motorfinger. I did not like the popular songs on this record for some reason, which is this weird. But I've totally made
it would be less weird if you liked Limo Wreck.
Right, because that sounds like the last album.
Yes. And Bad Motorfinger is my favorite Soundgarden album. I wear this shirt kind of every couple of weeks for the show. But the Limo Wreck to me is could have been on the previous album. But overall, I mean, just still one of my favorite albums. I love doing these. I think we'll keep doing these, but I think it's got to be a really special album.
Yeah.
And it's a kind of a special occasion for that album. So maybe we get a couple of these a year. You know,
sounds good.
But I appreciate you guys indulging me on this.
I can't power rank an album. What if it's Paul Boutique's 35th anniversary? Let's rank Paul's Boutique songs. Those would be fun, right? We could power rank.
I didn't say you can't do it.
No,
go for it. Let me know what's coming up. I think I don't know. You a big Green Day fan? I think Dookie is 30th anniversary this year.
You know what? I love Dookie. Right, Dookie was a great record, and then those guys too. American Idiot. After that, just didn't really get into much of that. But going back and listening to Nimrod and shit, some of that shit was better than I thought it was. Back then, I didn't like it.
They MSS. I'm with you. They do have a few albums in there where I was kind of really out on them when they came out.
Yeah,
and then you go back and you listen to them this. I don't know. Maybe I was just I considered them sellouts or something because I was in my younger days where I would even think about shit like that.
And this is just for Mr. Reed.
If you remember these days,
I do remember that. I remember you in those days. Absolutely. Yeah.
I feel
it's hard.
There were a few bands though that you could accurately depict as sellouts, where it was they changed completely how they did everything to make money. I would not say Stone Temple Pilots are in that.
Sugar Ray is a good example.
Sugar Ray's a good example. Yeah, Sugar Ray went from being a metal band to whatever the fuck they were for the rest of it. And some of the Offspring albums, you're just what the fuck is this? This is a Beatles cover basically, but it's not. I don't get what's going on here. But I guess you love money. I think we missed a drink here. So our guy Lil Yumper says MSS hates songs that are popular. Most have developed that view out west. Must have developed that view out west.
No.
Cheers, Yump.
Actually, I think I listened to more pop when I was out west than I did anything else. It was, I've always liked pop, and Mr. Reeves is not wrong. I don't listen to Kids Bop. My kids don't usually listen to that because I don't know. It's not. I'd rather listen to the regular song. But my kids also listen to Local H. So I mean, there's we listen to a lot of different stuff. We've been listening to LCD Sound System in the morning. They don't like it, but I keep making them listen to it because I don't like that either. So I get it.
All right, well, it's time now.
Wrap her up
for thank yous and GFYs.
Maybe
MSS. I'm gonna go to you. I think you got some. I think you're feisty today.
I think you're have feisty. A little bit of one. I have 2 GFYs for tonight. My first GFY is for something, and I apologize to the people listening at home. A big GFY goes out to Chicago History for posting this fucking picture of a smoked Polish sausage with fucking brisket on top and a Golden Carolina fucking barbecue sauce going across it. This does not exist, people. It does not exist. I walked to the back.
This is fucking awesome.
Sunday, our guys, More Than Dogs, are not there. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go fucking eat this Polish sausage with brisket all over it. because this fucking looks delicious, and I'm gonna go do that. So I go back to the smokehouse where my ladies work, Evelyn and everybody else, and I'm like, hey, I would like this. And she's like, we don't have that here. And I was like, what do you mean you don't have this here? This is the only place that has barbecue. It has to be here. Nope, we don't have that here. She's like, go look over there. That person right there is the head. Go talk to her. And I'm like, okay, it's my friend, Jen. I go, hey, Jen, where the fuck is this? And she goes, yeah, I don't know. That's not us. I've never seen this before. I'm like, you got to be kidding me that this is not in the fucking park. Fucking goddamn. That doesn't end there. So they're like, it might be here. It might be there. I'm like, it's not even on the list. It's nowhere. And so I'm like, oh, fuck. So Monday I go back. I'm talking to the food and beverage director of the Chicago, Sox Park. And I'm like, hey, where is this? He's like, that's not us. We didn't make that. We don't make that. Chicago history just posted this thing and said, there's this hidden gem, blah, 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 within the park. It doesn't exist. And I am fucking angry about it because it's getting so much play. That tweet that was there, that had 1.2 million views on that shit, and the fucker doesn't exist, folks. And hopefully they will make it and it'll be great. Now, my first GFY is that. My second GFY,
you are so fat.
Is this.
I loved how mad he was at the game though. Because it was like
the best. That was the best.
It was like the scene from the show within the show on Seinfeld, when the Jerry show. He's like, they fooled me, Jerry.
I was mad. I wanted that sandwich, and I walked around looking for it. They did not have it. Now my second GFY goes to this guy, Iron Storm. He said the Mudheads did something similar: Polish sausage, brisket, fried onions, and banana peppers. My guy. This does not look anything like this fucking lovely fucking sandwich. These do not look anything similar. You're not. This is like huge ass banana peppers on top of a fucking sausage. This looks like a goddamn brisket on top of a Polish sausage. It looks like something I actually want to eat versus something that I might have caught.
Are there Rice Krispies on that?
Yeah, it looks like it.
On there?
Yeah,
it's the onions. But like they're like, yeah, there's brisket. Where the fuck is the brisket? Like, there's no brisket there. I don't see brisket. So go fuck yourself, Iron Storm, for posting that shit, even trying to compare to the fake sandwich that Chicago history was putting up there. So that's all I got. So peace out.
He's mad at others about his mistake.
Oh, my God.
I'm not mad about it's not my mistake.
You know what?
How is it my mistake?
I stand with MSS on this.
Somebody post something, there's food here, and I'm like trying to go eat the food, and it doesn't exist. How is it my mistake?
He got catfished.
No,
he got catfished.
Hang on. MSS has gone too far now. He's gone too far. You know everyone. You went to fucking Food Day, you idiot, and you don't know this doesn't exist. How the fuck do you not know it doesn't exist?
I said
that's why you're a dumbass. That is why Mr. Hand's laughing so hard at you. You fucking had Food Day. You saw all the food, and then you saw all this bullshit thing on the internet. It's the food, new food. Come on.
They don't listen. Not everything is at Food Day. You think I didn't get everything that was there? Like, there's a list of shit.
They forgot to mention the $30 sandwich.
The thing covered in brisket. Oh yeah, we overlooked it. We
didn't think anyone would like this.
We'll let this account not connected to the White Sox tweet it out there.
I don't
Sounds
remember.
good.
So you think you understand when you saw that you're like, this is a work. This is a fake sandwich.
I didn't even give a fuck about anything that was tweeted out of that account. I don't know.
You get the fuck out of here. Go. You know what? Crazy. I got a third GFY, and that's for people. First of all, calling me fat. I'm like, oh, he's so fat. I beat his ass again in the 108 weight loss challenge because he can't stop eating. And then now he's like, oh, I was so smart. I'm not even paying attention to this shit. You fucking 90s ethos motherfucker. Go fuck yourself. And you would have gotten catfish too. I'm fucking out, man. You guys finish.
He's like, fuck it, I'm out of here. Absolutely.
I can add you back.
I'm really glad I didn't pull my pants down like I
was hoping you were gonna.
Make quite a
Beef.
show.
Who are you thinking of GFYing?
I would like to give a huge thank you to Chicago Streets and Sanitation for easily taking away my old couch and old rug, because I told you guys I got a new couch and put it out there on Twitter. Very nice of them to just show up, the garbage removal. No worries here in the city. You put a gigantic fucking couch out there. They just throw it right in the truck and fucking crush the shit out of that motherfucker. So as much as people like to complain about shit in the city, that part of our city works extremely well. Must be the expert leadership of our mayor, Brandon Johnson. So thank you.
I thought you just leave it out there till someone takes it.
It was raining, Treasy, so no one took it. So they had to come and they crushed it in the garbage truck.
That had to be fun to watch too.
I wish I could have seen it. I was at work. Unfortunately.
So I want to give a thank you out to my guy Chris McGowan. He let me know about a show.
You guys went to
going
a show.
on. He let me know about this show, and it was a band Gozu that he had turned me on to. We both like, and then the Obsessed were playing at the end. So I got early bedtime, so I didn't catch the whole set of the Obsessed, but I was there for it. But the band in between them. You know how sometimes you go to a show and especially bands that play kind of longer songs and you don't know exactly when the song ends. You know, they might stop for a second and you're like, oh, did the song end? This band, they're called Howling Giant. There's no confusion there because at the end of each of their songs, the bass player and the guitarist both did horns and just raised their hand up. So you knew it was the end of the song. It was like the please clap. It was awesome. And I was like, I've got to start doing this shit. I got to be at work and say something and just do this, just just go and I'm fucking done talking.